Welcome please to the JVG podcast, where these G's are gonna spread their seeds of knowledge about the league. It's flourishing with these funny catchers seem to be well read, esteemed and honest, like the man himself, Jeff Van Gundy. They are high IQ, so cerebral and funny. So if you're on the bus, just border on the dunny, listen to the
JVG NBA Tribute Show.
Welcome to episode 121 of the Jeff Van Gundy Tribute Show. I am your co-host Lukas, joined as always by my co-host Marco. Marco, hello.
Hey Lucas. Why don't you tell us about this drip you're wearing? Let's just get right to it.
Drip too hard. Let me do this though first, because I think that's usually better, what I've just done.
No, you're actually better before.
Well, we've done something very silly here. So, what am I wearing right now? Drip check. I got Puma on Puma for my YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
Top is Brianna Stewart. Was part of a line she dropped with Puma. God knows how long ago. I always go onto the Puma Australia store to see if she's dropped the new Causing Trouble Stewie ones in Australia. They haven't dropped yet, but Puma had some pretty fucking lit boxing. What were the Black Friday sales? Whatever the
Black
recent Friday
yeah.
sales. 40% off a lot of stuff,
which makes sense here because of how we celebrate Thanksgiving and all that. But carry on.
So that's what this number is. Now this you might be hearing me a little bit worse, but I got the Dua Lipa by Puma shorts.
And would you turn around?
I was getting to it. Puma on the front, and then butterfly on the back. And then butterfly on the back if that didn't get picked up on the mic. And then we just got some plain white Puma socks. Well, not plain white. There's a black Puma. I don't have to go through that. But yeah, just your run-of-the-mill socks. That's what I'm wearing.
What a fucking fit check. The shorts are so fire. They're so fire.
Yeah.
The butterflies, it's like sexy or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I would expect Dua Lipa to know what she's doing in collaboration with Puma.
Well, but I have to say, so my thing about Dua Lipa has always been that. Do you remember when New Rules first came out and she had like zero charisma? She had no fucking idea what she was doing.
Right.
Like she'd be performing at the VMAs or whatever, and she'd be like, "One, don't pick up the phone." And now you watch her perform. I don't know. You've probably seen some clips going around of her performing on her Future Nostalgia tour, right, Lucas? Right?
Personally, no. I was just checking her age.
Fuck, man. Are you serious?
I was just checking her age.
You haven't. All right. Anyway,
how old
she's got a lot more charisma now, is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
a lot more stage presence.
Yeah, I definitely thought that she had charisma.
Yeah.
Do you know how old she is?
I want to say 25.
Ooh, 27.
Wow.
8.
Right in my age bracket.
She has 87 million followers on Instagram.
Fuck me.
That is terrifying. That's a terrifying level of fame. I would be out in a Kevlar suit every single day. I'd wear SWAT gear.
You reckon? But do you reckon people want to murder Dua Lipa?
Yeah.
What? Just
people
for
would
fame?
be so jealous.
Like oh man, I wish I knew the name of the guy who killed John Lennon.
I was gonna say John F. Kennedy. Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah.
All right, the CIA, as you might otherwise know him as.
Lee Harvey Oswald, 3 letters. Central Intelligence Agency, 3 letters. Oh my fuck.
It's all falling into place, mother. 3?
Really?
Wow. She's had 3 platinum singles as well.
No.
She's probably had way more than that. But we do digress. So, good fit check there. Dua Lipa, 27 years old. Somehow we're going to tie this into the NBA basketball season and how it's been going.
27 years old. We got the 3-letter thing. Add 27 and 3, you get to the 30 NBA team.
Exactly right.
NBA.
3 letters.
Never broke.
CIA, NBA.
Never broke again. So, as you know by the title, this is now our 3rd edition of categorizing or tiering.
Yeah,
NBA
tiering.
teams.
I like tiering.
Tiering NBA teams into 5 tiers. Marco, what are those tiers? Remind listeners.
Those tiers would be contenders, pretenders, emerging, rebuilding, and limbo. Whereas I'm calling it this year hell.
Ooh.
No, not really. I'm still calling it limbo.
Okay. And a little description on all of them. Contending, I'm sure you can imagine what that means. Pretending, teams that think they're contending, but we don't give them a snowball's chance.
Yeah, or like this is the peak. This is as good as the team is going to get, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. Emerging are young teams that are on their way out of rebuilding, I would say, or young teams that you can imagine their championship window being open within the next let's say within the next 5 years.
Yeah, and it's also like they might be like as good as pretenders, but you can't call them pretenders because it's like there's more room for them to grow here.
Yeah. Rebuilding, teams that are rebuilding.
Yeah, the Wembanyama sweepstakes this year.
And limbo, teams that have got no idea what's going on. Let's clear something up. So, in terms of pretending, I see it as teams that internally think that they're contenders.
Yeah, okay.
So that description for what differentiates emerging and pretending, we might have a bit of a grey area.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Right. Well,
for me personally.
No, I don't think emerging teams think they're contending.
Yeah.
I think that like they might end up as. In fact, I think a lot of them this season are as good as a lot of pretenders.
Yeah.
But what the differentiating factor for me is the pretenders like, all right, cool, this is it. This is the squad. We're going with it. And the emerging teams like, we don't even need to get close to winning it this year.
Yeah.
To sort of have a good season and then for our championship window to still be open. You know?
Yeah. I think for an emerging team, I would say if an emerging team were to secure a top 6 seed in the playoffs, they'd be like, wow, great season. We're happy with that.
Yeah.
Whereas pretenders would be like, we can't be hanging our hat on a top 6 seed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fuck, we could even give an example. We probably both put the Memphis Grizzlies in emerging last season, right?
Yeah.
And they ended up, top 2 seed in the West.
Yeah.
Like winning a playoff series, taking a good series to the Golden State Warriors in the second round. That's as good as it gets from an emerging team, and you're completely happy with that.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the contenders, shall we?
Okay.
I've got 3.
Oh, wow.
I've got Boston, Golden State, and Milwaukee.
Wow. I have 6. I think I'm being generous. Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Denver, Phoenix, Memphis.
Whoa. You don't think the Warriors have a chance?
I don't think the Warriors are contending this season.
Okay.
I might even say that they're pretending.
Well, let's get to it. Who do you have in your pretenders?
My pretenders list, it's so long. I have Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Miami, Portland, Minnesota, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, and Dallas.
I have Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, the Clippers, Memphis, Philadelphia, and Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Who do you got in emerging?
Emerging, it's a short list this year because, and I think we'll probably discuss this during the episode. The league is like, it's so stratified right now. Like, there are the teams that think they're going to get it. Some of them might get it. Mm-hmm. And then there's the teams that are going after Victor Wembanyama. And that's pretty much it. So my emerging teams are Indiana, Sacramento, and New Orleans.
Oh, okay. So I think that I have a few of your pretenders in my emerging. I've got Cleveland, Indiana, New Orleans, Oklahoma, Sacramento, Toronto, and Utah.
Ah, interesting.
I've got one team that I will get onto them later.
I have one team that I haven't categorized as well.
Oh, well, I've categorized all 30.
Oh, okay.
Rebuilding, I have Detroit, Orlando, and San Antonio.
I've got Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando, Oklahoma, Houston, and San Antonio.
Okay, and now limbo is... I'm very happy with my limbo list this year. Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Houston, the Lakers, Miami, Minnesota, New York, Portland, and Washington.
Fucking hell.
I got 10.
It's heavy at the bottom.
Yeah.
I got New York, Chicago, Washington, Toronto, and the Los Angeles Lakers.
All right. Who do you have nowhere?
I have the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
And I think... Well, should I start there?
Yeah, let's start with the Jazz. All right.
Let's just go completely out of order to start the episode off. The Utah Jazz, if you've been paying any attention, they had like the hottest start to the season. What did they go, 12-3 or something like that? It was absolutely ridiculous hot start to get them top of the West when everyone thought they were going to tank. They were getting all these value out of players that you thought would just be traded for 1 first-round pick, if not 2 second-round picks. Mm-hmm. And you were almost like, okay, well, they're really going to go for it this season. They're not going to win a championship. So I don't know where that puts them. Now, since then, I think they've lost 6 of their last 8 games, and they're firmly in the play-in in the West. And so they've probably won too many games and are too good to tank. But teams have kind of figured them out enough that they're not, they're probably not going to be a threat in the playoffs. So, is this an emerging team? I'd say that's probably the healthiest descriptor for them.
Yeah.
But then there's also a chance they're kind of in limbo because it's like, okay, if this doesn't work, you can't attract a blue chip prospect in the off season. You don't get you don't get another all-star. You don't get a good lottery pick. Then it's kind of like, what are you doing? Straight away, very, very quickly, it goes from like, you got this very fun, very well coached young team, getting value out of players that didn't have a lot of value around the league, Larry Markkinen, to okay, now you've hit your ceiling again within 12 months.
Yeah.
So I'm straddling them between like emerging and limbo, but also I want to give them more credit than that. So I'm not going to put them in limbo.
Yeah, well, I think the 22-23 Jazz is similar to the 21-22 Wizards. Because we had that great stretch to start the season last season. And what I have the Wizards in this year is limbo. And that's something that the team developed into. But I think the Jazz are more hopeful than what the Wizards ended up becoming. Because the last season Wizards brought in Porzingis, who's like in his prime and, competing. And then threw $250 million at Brad and a no trade clause. So they kind of didn't allow themselves to continue emerging.
Yeah.
Whereas this Jazz team looks like it's being run as a team that's like that is an emerging team and that I think can turn it around in the next few years. And I feel like they're happy to let their older assets go. It's like actually like it's kind of what they're waiting for is like a good Clarkson trade to come up, a good Conley trade to come up, potentially even a good Olynyk trade to come up. But they also have shown so much value in their young players, and that there's a commitment to those young players that like, okay, cool, we're going to roll with you guys for this season. So I think that they're an emerging team. I feel as though if they were a rebuilding team, because that's what I had them in between, they would have been more obvious about it early on in the season. But they were like, we're on a win streak, we're going to keep on going.
Yeah, and I think, they singled that from the start. Like, they were starting Jeremy Clarkson, Mike Conley, and... Jeremy Clarkson. He is a great volume shooter, by the way. Just starting Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, Kelly Olynyk, like these, 29, 30 plus players who really had younger players on the bench who, in their positions who would have benefited from the experience, I honestly thought they were going to roll out, like Colin Sexton, fucking Taylor Horton-Tucker, Larry Markkinen, start Walker Kessler, start Jared Vanderbilt. But instead they were going to their vets from the get-go because I think they were like, okay, no, we've got something. There's a good foundation here. Like, we don't need to be bad and just give young players minutes for the sake of it. So that's what. But I just have them kind of like. I think emerging is definitely the best category for them. But you almost want to give them more credit for not going for the rebuild, and two, like really they could beat anyone. Like if this team makes the playoffs, you would not be happy being matched up against them. Like it might not be in their best interest, to finish in like the 6th seed or something like that. But they are so well coached and they have a lot of talent. Their roster goes pretty deep, all things considered, that you wouldn't be surprised if they knocked someone off a bit higher than them. But I guess that's what an emerging team can do by our definition as well. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs by come the end of the season.
But I don't know, like they could just do it accidentally.
Yeah, they can. Like they've already showed to start the season that they can go on a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, should we go into the next? Should we go into alphabetical order from now on?
Yeah. All right. So
I think, and we'll go by city name.
Yeah, we're going by city name.
Well, Should we go to the A?
Let's go to the A, baby.
I got them in pretending.
I got them in pretending as well.
I'm very sad about the pretending column, or the pretending category or tier. Jesus. The pretending tier this season, because I feel like it's a bunch of teams that I want to put in emerging, but you can't still be emerging.
No,
like should. You've now emerged.
Yeah.
And the Hawks, what are they at? I think they're 14-10 or something to start the season, but like they're by no means 13-11. Yeah, like they haven't broken away from the pack. They're very much in the pack. Like from 4th to 11th in the East, every team is somewhere between 13 and 11 or 11 and 13. That's the pack.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they haven't broken away from that. And yeah, this team doesn't scream to me that they're going to win a championship.
Yeah. And I think their play has kind of been like the definition of pack play. Like, Trey and DeJounte will have 20, 25, 30 points, 8, 9, 10 assists each every night. And it won't really make a difference on if they win the game or not. Like, it'll look good from them, but I don't think it's like, oh, cool, Trey had 30 and 14, so that means they won. It's like Trey had 30 and 14 and they just sort of were there. Like, the rest of the team was just on the court. And I think it actually really... I don't think that's a bad pairing. I think just the drop in... Like I said at the beginning of the season, the drop in talent from those two to the rest of the team is huge. DeAndre Hunter's having a great season, but like the center spot is still a problem. Like neither Capella nor Okongwu is really like grabbed that spot for their own. John Collins is not very good at basketball, I don't think. And also just like does not fit in with how this team wants to play. And then they just don't have a lot of punch coming off the bench. So it's like, yeah, you do actually have a superstar backcourt. Like I'm happy to say that, but that's kind of it. It's not, you're not going to get any further than where you are right now.
Yeah. Do you feel like Trae Young has like maxed out?
Yeah,
it's good. It's like really good.
It's really good.
It's a career all-star.
Yeah,
but you know how like who's a player who's a good example of this recently? I feel like Lukas not real.
Well, I don't want to say like I think Tyler Hero's maxed out.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, like, I'm trying to... Sorry, I didn't finish the point.
You're thinking of, like, an all-star level player who's...
Like, a player who quite clearly got better, but their production didn't budge.
Yeah, right.
Like, a player who added, like, a level of... I want to maybe say Jason Tatum. Like, I feel like Tatum is the tier above Trey, but I don't know if Trey will make that step.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. Like, if the Atlanta Hawks are a 3 seed, then Trey's like an all-star starter. If they're like a 6 or a 7 seed, he's on the all-star bench. It's kind of like, that's him for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And yeah, he'll have like a really good, he'll average a really good looking like 27, 28 points, nearly 10 assists. But like, I think the amount that he can impact the Atlanta Hawks winning games has kind of hit its peak. Like other stuff has to happen for Atlanta to get better. Whereas, like there are young superstars who it's like, oh wow, you can drag this team to this many wins, and you can drag this team to this level of play, and this is as far as he can take him without other stuff happening. Yeah,
and hate to say it, but I think there are a lot of players that would love to have the pieces that are around him. So maybe we should be listening to that as well.
Wow.
Well, should we move on to Jason and the Tatums?
Yeah, let's go to the Jason and the Tatums.
I got him in contending.
Yeah.
We're of course talking about Boston.
Yeah, these guys are definitely contenders.
Yeah.
I mean, to talk about Jason Tatum to start with, I think he's just come into this season with actual experience and skill gained from being in the finals and not doing very well. He looks, like we were saying, like he has taken that extra step and like he is kind of that next level of player. This team is like, they're playing like better than they were last season in the regular season, and they're not at full strength at all. Like we have not seen a minute of Robert Williams. Their defense has dropped off, and they've just kind of replaced that with having the best offense in the league.
Yeah.
So I think all the like every single role player is playing another level up from where they were playing last season. Like Derek White is actually hitting 3-pointers. Grant Williams is looking like a nice little bit better. Malcolm Brogdon he hasn't been this sort of like, I don't think he's been like a game changer, but like he has done exactly what he has to do in this situation, which is, score like 13 points and get 6 assists. Like that's plenty. So yeah, I think they'll just cruise through the rest of this season, and then we know that they can kind of do anything in the playoffs, and it'll really just depend on like, okay, do they have all 11 they have 11 rotation players, they have 10 other rotation players, they have 9 rotation players, all fit and in form when the playoffs roll around.
Yeah. Oh damn! I thought if I clicked defensive rating, it would go to a list of defensive rating, but it just gives me a definition. But they're currently 15th in the league. They finished last season second, and they're first in the league with offensive rating. That defensive rating will obviously jump when Rob Williams comes back, but there's the kind of that. They don't take nights off, but like not even by choice. They're just so good and so deep that they have like enough players performing every night. And you know what fucking sets them apart? And this is going to be so dumb and simple to sound, but they just run plays.
Yeah.
Like every single time down the court, they'll run a play. I actually disagree with the Malcolm Brogdon thing. I think he is such an issue. Like he causes so much headache. He doesn't always... Well, actually, often he's not the one taking the shot or making the assist. But like I've been DMing with Mr. 64, Sam Reeves. We've talked about Brogdon a few times, but like he'll just like be in. He'll space out the floor really well, or if he does get the ball, he'll just like take a couple dribbles, get to the ring, take a dribble, suck in a help defender, and then make the pass that then leads to the assist, or make the pass that leads to the hockey assist. And then also, the ball is really humming on this team this season. And yeah, their offense is looking really great. And they're very disciplined. They're really disciplined with the way they're running everything. And it does look like they're on a mission. Like they've really just shut up and like shored up their play.
Yeah. And for a team that kind of started the season with turmoil, with like a big injury, and everyone was like, well, that's gonna fuck them. It hasn't at all. So, yeah, I think they're just such a clear contender.
Brooklyn?
I'm in pretenders.
Yeah, I got them in...
I think you have them in limbo.
I got them in limbo, yeah.
And this is hard. It's hard. This is harder than it should be, because I think even 3 weeks ago, I would have very comfortably put them in limbo. With Kyrie not playing, Ben Simmons playing absolutely terribly. But they've kind of put together some like okay basketball recently. Ben Simmons has actually looks good. There is still like a long way to go for him. KD is obviously who he is. The role players are like, I don't know if they're like underperforming or over, like they're underperforming in spots and overperforming in others. Like Royce O'Neal is like, he's still seeing way too much. He's still taking way too many shots. Not his fault. That's just how it happens.
Yeah.
But he is like a perfect fit, I think, next to the three superstars. Nick Claxton's been like a very good defensive center. They have all these like, crafty guards, but we absolutely know where the ceiling of this team is.
Yeah.
It's not an NBA championship.
Yeah. Edmund Sumner as well.
Yeah.
I've really liked watching him play this season. I think he might be leading the league in free throw percentage.
Oh, wow.
I'm basing this off of off of what I've seen. I'm basing this off of the last few years and what I've seen this year.
Yeah.
They're below Atlanta, and if I'm holding Atlanta to a pretender that has evolved from an emerging team, then I think that they're the classification below Atlanta, which is what I think would be limbo. Because they still have, I think Kyrie's on a max, KD's definitely on a max, and then Simo might have been on the max when he got signed. That's 3 max contracts. Like, that should be a contending or pretending team. And look, they might think they're contending, but I don't. I still think that they're like a couple of steps away from contending. And I just feel like they kind of act like it as well sometimes.
Yeah. But I just think they're so at their ceiling that the only thing they can do is like try and win as many games as possible. There's no like can we rebuild? Can we bring? I don't think they can bring anyone in. I don't think there's like a little trade they can do.
Yeah.
There's just so little maneuverability in this team, but like they're gonna make the play-in or the playoffs. I feel very comfortable saying that, and they're gonna make some fucking noise. But like. That's the ceiling. But once this season is a failure, then surely surely Kevin Durant is like, all right, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I've just endured like 3 off-court seasons from hell, which have translated into on-court seasons from hell. Like, that's it. Surely that's all the chance that you give this franchise.
And that's why I'm saying limbo.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'm saying
Okay.
limbo.
Oh yeah, I think they're 6 months away from limbo.
I'll see you there. Charlotte.
I'm going rebuilding.
Okay, I'm going limbo. I think that theoretically they are a rebuilding team, but I had them emerging last year, and they've taken steps back, and they went from rebuilding into like, oh, finally, it's Charlotte's time. Then they lost Borrego, who I liked as a coach. They brought in Steve Clifford, who I don't like as a coach, and it just feels like this team, even if they are rebuilding, they're just organizationally a couple of years away from being steady. So I just think they're in limbo until they add some sort of steadiness to the way they're operating.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Their fall from grace over the last 12 months has been like kind of catastrophic.
Yeah.
Like, from being like a really fun team everyone was high on to like actual dog shit, dog water. But I think the LaMelo injury at the beginning of this season, I think when push comes to shove, that's kicked them into rebuilding mode. I reckon we're going to see heaps of these guys gone at the deadline. Like, I reckon Terry Rozier is going to go somewhere dumb like Los Angeles. But someone's going to come and get Kelly Oubre for something. Someone's going to come and get maybe even PJ Washington. And then, once that happens and they're still bad and they're near the bottom of the East, then yeah, they're rebuilding. Like, they've got LaMelo Ball on their team and they're hoping to get like another blue chip lottery pick. But I actually genuinely think that is their plan now, because I think that's the only reason you would bring Steve Clifford in as your head coach at the beginning of the season, is that like we have to. You're not the guy leading us out of this funk. You're not the guy leading us in any direction. You're just here to steady the ship while we start this rebuild. I don't think they're doing I'm yet to say that they're doing a good job of rebuilding, but I do believe that's their mindset.
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy to change their classification to rebuilding once they start.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna count my chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
Well, who's next alphabetically?
Would that be the Chicago Bulls?
The Chirac Bulls.
I have these guys in limbo.
I got these guys in limbo.
Yeah.
Should we keep it short and sweet?
Yeah, I think they got so much worse.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, we were just talking about Charlotte and like how they got worse. This was like more disappointing because they were actually really good last year.
Yeah.
Like, for a good portion. They were really fun to watch. And it feels like you can't just be like, oh, but Lonzo's been injured. Like, that can't make your entire team bad. So yeah, I don't really know what the way out of it is for this team, because like you got all these guys can be good and can play well together, and then they've all just sort of like lost a bit of their juice. Like DeRozan isn't capturing the form of last season. Caruso doesn't even look as good as he usually does. Everyone's like worried about Levine being like a long-term injury guy, like now when him and DeRozan are like averaging 27 points night in, night out together last season. So yeah, I don't know what you do with this Chicago team in this situation. Like, if Lonzo comes back and you're not good, then that's kind of it. Like, there's no. You also are at your ceiling, like with who you can have on this team. You got two max. Well, you got a lot of people and a lot of money, and you don't have many assets to get out of it.
And you also had some success with without Lonzo last season, because he played 35 games.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say their downward trajectory came when Lonzo wasn't playing with them. But like, that doesn't change the fact that DeMar was like, was he all NBA? I think he was all NBA last season. And also just the fact that the team looked so much better playing together. So I think we both have them in limbo for a reason. I'm not really sure what their avenue is here.
Yeah.
What's the angle?
What's the bloody angle, Chicago?
Cleveland, though.
Cleveland.
My golly gosh. I got him in emerging.
I have them in contending. Because I think, like, as much as we're saying for other teams, this is it. Like, this is it for Cleveland.
You reckon?
Like, not this is as good as the team get. I think they can get incrementally better as, you know, like they of course, obviously they have 4 players under the age of 25, so they're gonna get better over the next seasons, and they're gonna bring in good role players and stuff like that. But like, I think their championship window is open.
Oh, okay.
Because they've got
okay, that's fair.
They've got their team right now, and if you told me this team would make the finals this year, I would absolutely believe it. I would. It is absolutely not out of the realm of possibility for me. Yeah, they have just their best 4 players in this team are so good. They have good chemistry with each other. They've got a good coach who's got them playing well together. You look at their roster and you're like, I don't know about these role players, but like, I think they're a lot more solid than you think once you actually watch them play.
Yeah.
Like, they all know exactly. You know, like Kevin Love knows exactly how to play with this side. Like, he's turned himself into just such a good asset for Cleveland. So, like, I'm not taking these guys to win the chip, but I reckon 7-game series against anyone, like, they've got something that they can throw out.
I think the next logical step for them organizationally is to make the playoffs, because they didn't make it last season.
That's true.
So to go, even though they look great, like they look really good, and they look like they have broken away and established themselves as a top 3 seed in the East, and that's no lie. Like that, there's no team below them that I think is underperforming so far through the season. I think they're the 3rd best team in the East, probably one of the 5 best teams in the league right now, 5 best looking teams in the league. However, I think that the first season that a team is together should. I think it's pretty hard to classify that as contending. So I think that I'd classify them as emerging. The last time a team won, having brought in a superstar was like that season was the Raptors, and they brought in Kawhi Leonard, who was already a Finals MVP and champ,
and they'd be conference finalists. For the past 4 years.
And also Donovan Mitchell just isn't that caliber of player. I think though, what I have seen this season, and part of the reason that's like makes me confident that they're like close to being contenders, is I think Donovan Mitchell could be the best player on a chip, especially when the players around him are like. I think they have Mobley and Garland could both be the 2nd best player on the championship winning team, and then Jared Allen could easily. Is the starting center of a championship winning team, like a center with like quite few liabilities, and like excels at all the strengths that he does have. So I think that like if they keep on this track next year, they'll be contenders.
Yeah, I just think I think you're right. Like, they have to prove it. They have to prove that they're this good. But I think like they've got the talent right now to do it. There isn't like a next logical step except for experience. Yeah. And, you know, I'll happily eat crow if it's like, all right, they get to the playoffs and fucking they are just not prepared at all.
Yeah.
Because that's such a possibility.
Yeah.
But I think there is no reason that they can't beat anyone in the East in a seven game series.
Okay.
You know, like fucking obviously the chips have to fall in the right place for anyone to do that, but like the reality exists for Cleveland, I think.
Yeah. Before we get into the Mavericks, should I turn that line on?
Yeah, I reckon.
So, where do you have Dallas?
I got Dallas as pretenders.
Yeah, same. I'm not too happy about it though. I feel like it's not. I feel like they should be in contending by now.
Yeah. Well, so the Mavs, they looked really good last season. Luka Doncic, he might be the best player in the world. He might be.
Yeah, come on.
He might be.
Has to be.
But like, I think they very admittedly took a step back when they let Brunson go. Like, they just did not bring enough talent in to replace him.
Yeah.
Christian Wood has been really good this season. Spencer Dinwiddie has also been really good. Even Tim Hardaway Jr., his low key like last 3 or 4 games, he's been hitting like 5-6 threes a game. When, you know, Luka is getting everyone else on the team open and they can hit 1 or 2 at the best. Apart from the odd like DFS like 7 of 7 game. But like, they just aren't as good as they are last year. And I think this season, maybe for me, they're the pretender that like is acting like they're not a pretender, but knows they are a pretender deep inside. Like, they know this isn't the season they're going to win with Luka. They know Luka's going to stick around. Oh, well, I hope that they know that. But you can't call them emerging because you just cannot say this is an emerging NBA team. And you can't call them contending because they're not going to be good enough to contend. Yeah. So I think for that reason they're a pretender.
Yeah. Well, I think you nailed the description. What do you think they need to do though?
I think they need like a genuine. I don't know. I feel like it's such a cop out to say like I think they need a genuine star next to Luka. But like I can't. If you line all the NBA, if you line all 30 NBA teams up. Like, the dip in quality from Luka to, Christian Wood or Spencer Dinwiddie is so much bigger than it is on any other team. In the dip from first player to second player. And maybe that'll be true of almost anyone Luka plays with. Yeah. Because he's that good. Yeah. But it's like, there is no way... Like, Spencer Dinwiddie is... He didn't sneakily make an all-star team. No. When on that injured Brooklyn team. No, he's a 0 all-star appearances guy. Yeah. Christian Wood probably the same. So, yeah, do you just need someone at that level?
So I was talking to again Sam and Dante one time, or Dante, sorry. And my thing was. Dallas just needs those 3-and-D wings to be able to put the ball on the deck. Just like one or two dribbles. And then capitalize on the breakdown that Luka causes. I think that they could still they could still all do that. Could still add that to their game. But I think they do need just a bucket. Like someone who can just score while Luka's on the bench. But then also... can just score while Luka's on the court. Yeah. And create more space for him that way.
And I think it's quite literally that thing where, like, if Luka gets, like, a semi-good look from the perimeter for Reggie Bullock or Dorian Finney-Smith, and then, like, the closeout comes, like, neither of them can attack it. Like, I think I've seen so many, like, kind of cringy Instagram videos of like, get this man some help. And it's like, it's Reggie Bullock catching it, pump faking, and then he tries to dribble into the key and he just like spills the ball immediately. So yeah, like they need someone who's like a three-way offensive, threat who can kind of like feed off Luka's all the space Luka creates, and then also like do their own thing when Luka's on the bench. Now, I don't want to give my hand away too much here, but I've just had this thought. How do you think Larry Markkinen would fit as the second best player on this team?
Yeah, I think he fits pretty well.
Like, he can obviously splash it when Luka finds him in the corner, but like he's quick enough and he's got enough ball skills that he can put it to the floor. And then obviously just like an absolute mismatch offensively. I mean, are you getting up here?
I'm getting the trade machine.
You're getting the trade maker up here.
Yeah, I just want to see how to make the money work.
Yeah.
Who does Larry play for? He plays for the Jazz, who are 6-3 on this website. Because making the money work is obviously the hard part, but then also, what do the Jazz want, and why would the Jazz help them out?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing the Jazz are giving Larry away for right now is like a lot of picks. Probably not like the King's ransom, but like maybe the Prince's.
I think it would cost 3 firsts if you were to give him Bertans, because Bertans' contract is the first, and then Lowry's the asset is 2 firsts.
Yes. I don't think the Jazz do it, but I think that touches. I think that touches what they might be looking at.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. That might be an okay trade. Yeah. God, that's a lot to think about right now.
I mean, he might be the best player Luke has played alongside, except for maybe Porzingis. But then, I mean, that's a whole nother issue talking about Kristaps Porzingis. It's a whole nother bunch of issues, actually.
Well, I think that's some good food for thought. I think that the Mavs maybe need might need to be one of those teams where it's like, what? The Mavs gave up how many first round picks for player X?
Yeah.
But maybe you need to make that swing. You got Luka. What are the picks going to mean?
Yeah, and that's what I had right at the end here. Is like, I think it's fine that maybe this season they're taking a step back and not going to do well. But as my good friend Lucas Petrita says, like, you have Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Win now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Denver.
Now,
I have actually, where have I've put them in pretending. You've put them in?
I have them in contenders.
Yeah. I have not heard anything out of Jokic this season, which is crazy to think about, seeing as he's like maybe the second best player in the world right now.
Do we maybe just want to have a look at Basketball Reference MVP tracker here and see?
Yeah, what do they have to say?
I mean, well, he is averaging a nice 23, 10, and 9.
I think all drops from the last few seasons.
63% from the field.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I don't think this team is a contending team. I can't imagine a starting lineup that has their defenders hoisting the Lario. I think that obviously fucking Jokic is nuclear. We don't have to talk about Nikola Jokic, but like if MPJ and Jamal Murray are two of your starters, I think Jamal's like a serviceable defender. I think Michael Porter Jr. is bad. I was going to try and defend him somehow.
I think I'm going to say they're contenders, and I think Jamal's a bad defender, or at least has been this season. Because I think it's that thing when you come back from injury and you're like an offensive player, you're like, I gotta get my shot back, I gotta get my dribble back. I'm not even gonna think about defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue your point.
I just can't see a world in which they win the ring.
I think I really can.
Okay.
I think that Aaron Gordon, KCP, Jokic is enough of like a defensive backbone to kind of cover up for the rest of these guys. And then I think if I'm Michael Malone, I'm sitting Michael Porter Jr. in the fourth, and I'm putting Bruce Brown on.
Okay,
and then,
that's fair.
And then you have 4 good defenders. Like I think we're still yet to see what like good defensive center Jokic is like in a playoff series that they like are competitive in. You know, like we saw them in the first round last. They didn't make it past the first round, did they?
I don't. They had the Warriors.
Yeah, and that's right. They lost.
I think they lost that
4-0, I believe. It was. Yeah.
Wasn't it? I think GS Pateni.
Oh yeah, it was a gentleman's. It was.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we didn't even get the chance to be like, all right, like what does this Denver team look like when they're like, you know, when they're closing out in the clutch minutes of a playoff game. And I mean, they obviously didn't have these other guys, but I think like there's just so much offensive potency here that if you can just like throw together like 3 minutes in the fourth quarter of a playoff game of like really good defense, then that's like enough to get you over the line. Like if Jamal's getting 25, MPJ's getting like an efficient 20, Jokic is doing whatever the hell he is, then that should be enough to win you almost any game.
So of my other contenders, I got Boston, Milwaukee, and Golden State. I feel like Jokic, of those teams, Jokic probably fits the Kevon Looney sort of defender the most. Like a very good positional defender, but by no means a rim protector. But like there's like a bit of rim protection with Kevon Looney, and then there is rim protection in Draymond. But Boston have like Robert Williams.
Yeah.
And then Milwaukee have Giannis and Brook Lopez. The Lopez brothers. But I don't know who the rim protector is for Denver.
Yeah.
And I think that once you get into the later playoff series, then you're coming up against a really good team that's going to have that's going to be able to find a way to just get a couple lob plays in a row, and then Mike Malone times out and it's like, all right, what the fuck do I do here?
Yeah. Yeah, I take what you're saying. I think it could, I don't know. I still think there can be like, you know, a Jokic 5 blocks in a playoff game.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Like, you can call out my good friend Sean Carroll and ask him for Jokic's fucking block percentage or whatever they call it last season, and he will pick up the phone. That's who writes for what's the Bulls fan site called?
The Bulls Posters?
The Bulls
fuck,
Post.
I was on it today.
Bulls Post.
I think it was like Scotty something.
Yeah. Pippen in Pippen in charge. No. Sir Charles in charge. Anyway, getting off the topic here.
Yeah.
Well, what do you, man? No, maybe we should skip past this because we're taking our sweet time about.
Well, what's the question?
What do you think Denver need to do to be a contender?
Oh, fuck yeah, let's skip past that.
Is it like Daniel Gafford off the bench?
I think it is. I think it's something like that. That option as a rim protector, and then also MPJ or Jamal Murray become good defenders.
Right.
One of the two of them becomes a good defender.
Yeah. I guess we're living in Never Land.
Exactly right.
Detroit.
The Pistons of Detroit. I got him in rebuilding.
I got him in rebuilding. Nice and easy here.
So, yeah, okay. This is one we can breeze past. Actually, this is something I want to say. I've got some teams in limbo that I don't have in rebuilding. My rebuilding teams have to have one young player that I'm like, cool. Actually, that doesn't work with the Hornets because LaMelo, I'm like cool about. Yeah. But I think that
I like that you made the point anyway. I like that you put your cards on the table.
Yeah, but I'm like cool, Cade.
Yeah.
Cool, Jaden Ivey. Cool, Jalen Duren.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I said in our season preview, whatever you want to call it, top 7, bottom 4, that I thought these guys would like kind of be pretty good, and they're not. But like they got all these nice things going on. Like they got those 3 nice young players. Bojan Bogdanovic is actually like just such a weird good fit on this team as well, even if they're not winning games.
Even if they're dead last.
And Killian Hayes is back.
Oh, true.
He finally did it.
Yeah, he looks like you know, he's not one of the guys I'm like cool about, but he looks good.
He looks like a basketball player.
Also, they're not dead last; they're dead second last.
Yeah. Should we move on to the
Essendon Bombers?
EFG.
Yeah.
The Golden State
The
Warriors.
effective field goal percentage.
The effective field goal percentage.
Yep.
Warriors.
Golden State. I have them in contending.
I have them in pretending.
Now, I think that pretending's fair, but I think just coming off the ring, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong here.
Yeah.
Like they've shown enough in the past. I think it's 7 years now that I'm happy to be wrong here.
Yeah. I would agree with you, but then I'd also say like they've had seasons where it's like, oh yeah, now they'll pull it together, and they didn't.
Yeah.
You know? Like 2 seasons ago when it was like, oh yeah, no, they'll get it to work, and it just never came together. I mean, I don't think that. I think this roster is so much better than that roster, but I really think trying to play today and tomorrow has bitten them in the ass a bit. Like no Gary Payton he's been a huge loss, but I think the biggest mistake. And fucking crucify me for this if you want, is being like, we don't need to sign another 7 foot tall guy because Big Jim is the only 7 foot tall guy who's going to be playing minutes for us. I think that was a mistake because, James Wiseman is not very good.
Yeah.
and like maybe he's still got it in him, but I'm not sure where it is.
I think that's fair. I don't know if they explicitly said that, but I don't know if they were like purposely like Jim's our situational footer.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was looking at that Warriors roster after the chip, I would have been like, that was good and we won it, but it would be nice to have a JaVale McGee type that we can throw on the floor for 10 minutes a night, you know?
Yeah, like I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'm still picking them for my 23-24 ring. Yeah. And I did see this year being a bit of a heel turn, but I don't feel right putting them in anything but contending.
That's fair.
They won the ring like 4 months ago.
Final point on the Warriors, Marcus Thompson II of The Athletic, he had this good piece about Jordan Poole, about how last season Jordan Poole was still sort of this unknown entity. No one really knew what to do with him. And that's why he was fucking really good. In the playoffs, like in every series, he had a really good first game, and then he had a shit rest of the series where he just shot garbage, got locked down. That's how every team is playing Jordan Poole, like they know he's Jordan Poole now. Like they figured out his game. When Curry goes to the bench and Poole comes on, like they're putting their best defender on Poole and they're just harassing him, not giving him any space. And like he hasn't figured out how to deal with that quite yet. Yeah. You know, like Curry, you put your best defender on Curry and he's probably going to drop 25 on your head. Not night in, night out anymore, but like that's likely. So that might actually be the big jump for the Warriors, is like Jordan Poole figuring out how to play against the best defenders in the league.
Steph is averaging 30.
Yeah, but you see what he had today? Bloody
Yeah.
freaking lost to bloody Andrew Nemhard.
Oh, who we'll get onto later. Next up, the Houston Rockets. H-Town.
I have them in rebuilding, but they're like easily my least favorite team of the rebuilding teams.
I got him in limbo.
Yeah.
And to make the comparison to Andrew Nemhart's Indiana Pacers, I would really like to see how Indiana would look with Steven Silas and how Houston would look with Rick Carlisle. Because you can't tell me going into the season that the Pacers were this much better than the Rockets.
Yeah.
But I don't have a single young player on this Houston team that I'm like, cool. I thought it was going to be Jabari Smith Jr., but he hasn't had the opportunity to so far.
No.
As sure as fucking shit isn't Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. There's like role players that I'm like, they could be like, they could have good seasons, good services.
Yeah, like Kevin Martin. And,
but like it's not enough to be like cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that Houston are just kind of fucking floating in this. What are we?
Yeah. I think they just need to fire Steven Silas. I actually think that would help so much.
Yeah.
And just get a coach in who actually knows what they're doing. Because I feel like he's kind of gotten this free pass from being like, oh, well, we're tanking, like we're bad. But like pretty much every other tanking team, like there's games that you watch where you're like, oh wow, that's really nice. Like OKC is obviously the premier example because like, I mean, they have the talent not to be a tanking team.
Yeah.
They just are tanking. But yeah, like we said about Detroit or even Orlando this season, it's been like, okay, I can see where this is going. Like I can see where kind of the flashes of playing 4 guys over 6'8" at the same time. Like I can see how that'll be good when they're all good players and you've maybe got another good piece there. But yeah, you just don't see that at all for the Rockets.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're in the rebuild stage where they're like they haven't got everything they want yet to like, you know. But yeah, does that put them in limbo?
Yeah, because it's like, what are you banking on?
Yeah.
You want an 18 or a 19-year-old to come in and solve your problems. Yeah. I think that's bad.
Yeah, but you know, maybe is it see who you draft next year and then see who you hire as head coach based on that.
Yeah, maybe, but like that's saying limbo to me more than it's saying rebuilding.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, because like the pick is still unknown.
Yeah,
like the pick is an NFC at this point.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, yeah, I guess that does put him in limbo in that sense. But then, I mean, you could say it's like you're rebuilding because you don't know like what you're rebuilding with yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're all fine.
They're all thoughts.
Well, next is Indiana.
Yeah.
Next in the alphabet is Indiana.
I have these guys emerging.
Yeah, I got them emerging. Probably just stark as to what I just said about the Rockets, and like part of the reason I used the Carlisle Silas example, they just look good and like they got pieces and like, man, I don't know. And people are like, oh, you know, you got the Turner asset you can trade, the Healed asset you can trade, but why? Like, why would the Pacers make a trade?
Yeah,
they got Hallie and Mathurin, who are looking great as their like young core, and then Miles Turner in 5 years' time will be 32, still like within his prime, still will be like a really good basketball player. Healed in 5 years' time will be 34 or something, 33, and then those young players will be in their prime, and it's like that's a great starting point. So like, why would they do another team a favor and trade away any of these assets? I think that they're in a really good position. And then Nempire had a good game today, and I just think they're a really good team.
Yeah, they keep striking gold with young players as well, like Nemhard. I mean, Chris Duarte was like 38 last year, but you know, like nobody really expected him to be sort of an NBA player from the get go. Mathurin's been like, I mean, he might be rookie of the year favorite at the moment. They've like Aaron Nesmith looks better than he did. Like his first few seasons in Boston. Fucking is Jalen Smith on this team? I keep seeing him and I'm like,
he is.
I keep seeing him and I'm like, oh, okay, like you're actually like an okay basketball player, which I didn't really experience previously. Man,
Buddy Hield's turning 30 this year.
Yeah, he's fucking old, So yeah, like everything you said, they got this awesome young core. They're still gonna add to it. I disagree with being like, okay, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, don't trade him. I don't think they should trade him now. I don't think they should trade him for assets. But I think like you have so much flexibility, like up and down, true. Sideways with players like that, because they are like Buddy Hield is a coveted player. You can trade him for assets. You could probably like put him in a deal for an even better player as well. You know, like if you give up some picks, or if you give up a young prospect, Buddy Hield, a couple picks, do you bring in another superstar? You know, like is that the way up? So yeah, they're emerging as in they're playing like this really good brand of basketball, but like they still have the flexibility, kind of like Memphis last year, I would say, where Memphis were kind of hedging their bets with being good and keeping young, but there's still that flexibility to go superstar trade or go rebuild or just go sideways.
Yeah. Do you reckon Tyrese Halliburton could be a superstar?
I think so. I genuinely think so. I'm really high on him. Like he's just like a whole offense in himself, and he's a really good defender. I think that's really, like, is there much more you need to do? It's a
good point.
If you're shooting like 50, 40, 90, 22 points, 10 assists, and you're a really good defender, like how much more do you need?
Yeah, and that's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all. I mean,
yeah, that's very much like that could actually be his trajectory.
Yeah, he could do it this season.
I don't know about the percentages. The percentages might be a bit. Yeah,
no. But you know what I mean. Like it's just so achievable.
Yeah. Also, he's averaging 15 attempts a game. That's like, I'm sure that every other superstar in the league would be like between 22 and 25.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I reckon we do the LA teams, and then we're at halftime.
Okay.
The Clippers first.
Well, I got them as pretenders, but fucking man, they're just annoyingly surprising me. I'd love to have them in limbo, but I think I have them in pretenders.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm really annoyed by it. Like it pisses me off. Like you just remove Kawhi from the rotation, it's an easy limbo.
Yeah.
But like Kawhi, I was considering putting him in contending today.
Oh really?
Like, I can see it. I can see it, and it's been like a vision. And it's not been based on anything that's been done by the Clippers.
It was that step back too. It was.
It did look good, but like it's still very much based on. It's like an extrapolation rather than an interpolation of their past few seasons. But like I can see it, and it pisses me off. But gun to my head, pretending.
Yeah. I feel the same way. My biggest sticking point is I actually just don't even trust them to stay healthy. And that's it. I think that takes you out of contention. Like. You're right. I can see it. I can absolutely see Paul George and Kawhi Leonard winning a ring with these guys. But I don't believe that they can stay on the court together long enough for that to happen. Yeah.
So we both got to pretending in different ways.
Yeah.
Now the fucking Lakers. I thought we put them to bed.
Oh, this was done, brother.
So 8-2 in their last 10 games. I've got them in limbo.
I've got them in limbo as well.
From their ring until 10 games ago, easy limbo. If you just like buff out that range by 2 weeks either side, I can understand why people would still have hope for them.
Yeah.
AD looks crazy. He dropped 55 and 17 on the Wiz yesterday. They won a ring on the other side of that window. And I can see why you could, and why I was like thinking about putting him in pretending. And also, AD, where the fuck did this come from? But I've got to put him in limbo.
Yeah. You have to stay in limbo while you're under 500. That's the rule right now. For the moment, at least. I'm really happy to see AD playing like this because like when I was a nascent New Orleans fan, like this is the AD that I watched highlights of.
Yeah.
Like just the fucking just absolutely destroying it at the rim. They're just completely reverted him back to that role. Like, I don't think it's even the 2019-2020 AD.
Yeah.
I think this is just like, put him in pick and rolls, get him like nice in and close. No fucking baseline turnaround fading jumpers. Like, absolutely none of that, please. And I think I saw a stat today. Since a certain point in the season, like, he's played 97% of his minutes on the floor at the 5.
Yeah,
Like, there's no doubt about him being a center on this team now. Like,
there was never.
But they're not pretending about it anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But like, there's just no way that this roster. I don't think they even make the. I don't think this roster can even make the playoffs. Like,
Really?
I think this roster is still just so bad. Like,
Okay.
can you imagine Lonnie Walker the 4th and Austin Reeves and Pat Beverly like bailing this team out of like hitting a 3 in a play-in game to get them into the playoffs? Like,
that's fair.
It kind of defies belief. And now they got rid of Matt Ryan. Like, they don't have that hero to sort of to get him out of these situations. But man, the other thing is, if they go 8-2 over the next 2 weeks, then like, fuck, we just have to have a different conversation.
Yeah. So in that 8-2 stretch, AD is played 9 games. He missed one. You wouldn't read about it.
Close.
But he's been averaging 35, 15, 3 blocks on 64, 45, 88 splits. But so I think that they can make the playoffs on the back of AD and LeBron. I think that's definitely possible. That's fair. But we're talking about a limbo team.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's 15 teams.
Cool. Well, should we take a break?
Yeah.
And we're back, I guess.
The Memphis Grizzlies.
I have these guys in contenders with the only asterisk that I've actually given myself.
Okay.
Because I had this team emerging last season, and then as we discussed, they were the 2 seed, and they were really good, and they were fucking 20-2 without Ja or whatever that statistic it was. And this season, it's kind of like they're the same. Like, you feel like this is the same team. Like, whoever's out there, they're probably gonna win, and then they're really, really, really good when they're at full strength. But like, I'm giving them 1 season to be contenders, to be like, all right, cool. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing as a franchise. This is how you're rolling out. Like, yeah, you got Ja, you got Desmond Bain, you got Jaren Jackson Jr., you got all these good, fun role players, you got all these young guys. Dylan Brooks is there. If you don't really make a bit more noise this year, because like, I don't think anyone really expected them to get any further than they did. And then if you don't, either this offseason, I think if they don't sign a superstar, if they don't trade for a superstar this offseason, I think they're losing their direction. But I'm giving them a season to be contenders. I'm giving them like an opportunity to be like, okay, we can actually like make the finals of this team. Because I think they can. But like, I think if they don't, then there has to be a big reevaluation of like what the idea is of this franchise.
Yeah, I think that I can't imagine them winning the ring this season.
Yeah.
And I think that they are still moves away from being contenders. So like that, by that definition, they could potentially be an emerging team. But I don't know, if they won 55 games last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not a team that's emerging. That's a team that's here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think they're at. I feel like last season I said that a team earned like being a pretender. I can't remember who it was, and I wish I felt the same way about the Grizzlies. I wish that they like earned that that classification as a pretender. But I don't feel great about it because I feel like it could get stale.
Exactly.
Like it could get stale. So yeah, I just think because everyone was so hot on them last year, and I feel like this sort of turnaround shouldn't happen in a year.
Yeah. But I think that's it. Like, you know, you can't just be stupid as this sounds. You can't just be this good. Like, you have to get better, and you have to like kind of be making moves to get better. but like then you can't kind of be like, oh, what are the Memphis Grizzlies doing when they're playing this well and they're winning this many games? And whoever, like what Tyce Jones had like, what do you have, like 25 and 10 and like only hit threes today or something like that. So like they have that next man up mentality that like stops them from losing games, but then doesn't really like allow them to be any better than they are or something. They're a confusing one. They're another confusing one.
Could become like a Utah Jazz situation over the past few years.
Exactly.
So what we're saying is split up Jar and Steven Adams now.
Do you know how many times Jar Morant's assisted Steven Adams in the regular season?
Do you know?
No.
Less than the amount of times fucking Trae Young's dribbled a fucking whatever.
Yeah, exactly right.
Miami.
Oh man. I got these guys as pretenders.
I got him in limbo. I don't even... like, Lowry's looking bad. Kyle, of the Kyle variety. Jimmy's like Jimmy. Bam is not versatile enough offensively. Like, for this team, there's not enough of the ball going into the hoop. Actually, that's not Bam's fault. But I just don't think that this team can score in enough ways. And there's like... Max Strus is now the underperforming three-point shooter. Took that from Duncan Robinson. I just don't think that this team is... They're so thin. Like, there's like... Strus, Jimmy, Tyler, Kyle, Bam. Who else? One of the Martin twins... Victor Oladipo
hasn't played yet.
Exactly. What? Name another player on this team. Haywood Highsmith.
Gabe Vincent.
Cool. Gabe Vincent. Udonis Haslem. And like they're what? They're, as you said, if the team's below 500, then they're a limbo team.
I think I might have to take a mulligan in this and put them into limbo because I think that's how I feel about them as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're not good enough, and there's no way out. And like, I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna move him into limbo. I'm gonna do my one in episode mulligan, which we're allowed one of. That's exactly right.
I can't see the next step for them, and I don't see them making any sort of noise in the playoffs this season. So
No. Like it would take Oladipo coming back and like being the third best player or fourth best player on the team overnight. I think it's a bit sad. I think like you're like, don't blame Bam. But I think there's just like this huge untapped potential in Bam that like you sort of saw. Like he should be a perennial actual DPOY candidate, not just one that's there because he's like, a superstar center or whatever. Like there should actually be one of the best defenders in the league, clearly anchoring the best defense in the league. And then he should also be scoring 20 points a game. Yeah. Like I just don't know how a player like him. I mean, he actually is averaging 21 this season.
Oh, really? I thought it was 18.
Yeah, what the hell? That's actually a huge surprise.
But anytime Bam shoots a jump shot, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Like, I am, as the other team, I'm like, oh my God, if you want to, whatever you just did to the ball.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm so happy anytime like the Wizards play and Bam shoots a jump shot. However, he did fucking drop 38 on us. So go figure how a guy with legitimately no bag can do that.
Yeah, and that'll blow out his points per game actually.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
But I just feel so sad about this team now. They're so flat.
Yeah. But like you've got Jimmy, who's an excellent playmaker. You've got Tyler Hero, who's a decent one. You've got Kyle Lowry, who's a good playmaker. Like just get Bam 20 shots at the rim a game. Like, I don't think that's like not how that's not how this team plays. Like that's not how Eric Spoelstra like has them playing on offense. But fucking, I think when you have a center that talented, like you could give him the AD treatment, like you could just turn him into this pick and roll lob threat, like play after play after play after play. And there seems to be no impetus to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm putting him in limbo. I'm happy to change him to that.
Milwaukee.
Wow, well, obviously these guys are bloody contenders, aren't they?
Yeah. I feel like they earned that season that they won the ring. And since they've won it, because there was so many questions before they won a ring, but since they've won it and now we've seen what it looks like, it's like, man, you got Giannis and those guys, and like anyone else you want to bring in around the edges. But like you got Giannis, Middleton, Drew, Brook Lopez. Dare I say Bobby Portis? Include Bobby Portis.
You dare say.
Yeah, and then like any of those guys have all been so serviceable throughout the years. They're in contenders. They're a contender until they decide.
I was like not hot on them at the beginning of the year. I think because Brook Lopez looked really iffy. Go fucking figure after coming off fucking back injury. And yeah, like what I think the consensus is that he'll be Defensive Player of the Year. like he's just genuinely the best rim protector in the league at the moment. Drew still looks good. Middleton literally just came back.
Looked so good.
Then you've got like their guard rotation. Like Grayson Allen, I don't like him, but like he's gonna hit a bunch of 3-pointers for you. Javon Carter had like what when they were resting the starters, he had just such a ridiculous game, like 38 and 15 or something like that. Wesley Matthews and George Hill just look good when they're on the floor for this team. Pat Connaughton barely gets to play because he's like the seventh guard he's the seventh like guard / wing in the rotation. So they're so deep. We know that Giannis can take a team to a championship. Like I don't know what the question here is. I think that they're the title favorites, and it's like not very close.
Yeah, I think that what is the question? Yeah, there is no question.
There's no question. There's no questions for that matter.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Whew, Jesus. What? Who are these guys fooling?
My God.
What are they pretending?
You got him in Pretenders?
I got him in Pretenders.
I got him in Limbo.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Like, not that you've got them in Limbo, but that you can fall from where you were, like, a month ago to where you are now.
Here's the thing. Well, the Twin Towers don't work. Last season in the finals, the Boston Celtics run a pretty good two big rotation. They weren't as big as Cat and Gobert, but they had a big that couldn't shoot and they had a big that could shoot. The Cavs run it with two bigs that can't shoot, and they had Laurie last season and they looked good doing it. The Bucks got Giannis who can't shoot. No, he can't shoot. And then Lopez who he can shoot. Like he is that footer. Like there is a Cat and Gobert iteration on other teams, but like they don't have Cat and Gobert. Like they don't have two bigs that are like well established. Like, well, Giannis and Brook one isn't as fair to both sides. Like, there's a lot I need to actually explain there, so I might rescind that one. But the point there is that they have two big guys that have figured out how to play together. So Cat and Gobert, I feel like they like people that had the questions for him. I didn't understand where those questions were coming from, because there are so many examples around the league of successful bigs playing together, and fucking one of them made the finals last year, one of them won the ring the year before. So I just think that this is, I don't know what the issue is, but they're in limbo for me, because they haven't sorted it out and figured it out, and they just there's so many examples of it working around the league, and they aren't one of them. Yeah,
I think like when they made that trade, they put themselves in the pretender camp, in that they were like, all right, this is it. Like we're going for a championship with this roster, with this combination, because they drained so many like good young role players. Obviously, gave up a lot of picks, but it's just not working at all. It's just not working at all. And now I don't feel comfortable putting them in limbo yet, because like I think they know what their direction is. Like, it's not a good direction. They know like what sort of basketball they want to play, and they know what they want to do as a team, but it is not working at all. And I think like if Anthony Edwards actually believes that he plays better in small lineups and isn't just saying that as like some egotistical thing, then that is a fucking disaster. Like you actually could lose him. Like you could actually lose him if he's looking at how you've built this team and is not happy with it. So I don't know. You really put the problems on the page very well, and I think I don't know what to do here. I really don't know what to do here.
They can sort it out.
You think they can sort it out?
They theoretically should be able to sort it out.
Just through coaching?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think the Cat is a perimeter player. I think the Gobert is good on the inside. Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. And fucking figure it out, man.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also not a coaching problem, but like a personality problem. Like the players that they have on the team obviously aren't winners.
No. Cat hates figuring it out. He absolutely hates figuring it out.
Got my 25 and 11 hashtag tip from Malcolm.
Cool. Should we move on to the New Orleans Pelicans?
You're emerging.
Yeah.
How do you feel about them?
Fucking, it's so awesome. Actually, I don't have a heap to say about this. Like, we're really, really good. We have, I think, exactly who we're gonna have when we're contending. Maybe we'll have like another lottery pick. Maybe. I think next off season, if there are some chip hunting veterans, some crafty 3-and-D guys, I think they'll be looking at New Orleans as a minimum contract destination. But I think apart from that, like, this is who we are. But like, we just need this season. We just need a full season of Zion. We need a full season of everyone playing together. We need to make some noise in the playoffs, like, which I'm fairly certain we're gonna do. And then I think we're just contenders. Like, after that, I think the championship window, if everything goes right this season, fucking touch wood, like, we don't have any big injuries, any big time missed with everyone, with the big three playing together, building all that chemistry, then I think next year the window opens.
Oh, I didn't think it'd be that soon, but I think that you guys are definitely on the way to becoming contenders.
Yeah,
and it is just time. Like, that's it. Like, you kind of nailed it.
Yeah,
which makes sense. Go on.
No, that's all I have to say. Really, like, really, 2 thumbs up, New Orleans Pelicans. You're doing a bang up job.
Yeah, really pleased. New York Knicks.
Oh man,
to the limbo. I got him in limbo.
Yeah, have we ever not?
Man, what are they? They're just below 500 again.
Yeah.
What are they? Their seeds a double digit again. Like, well, you're back here. You keep making changes. You keep thinking you've found the issue, the problem, the solution to the problem, but you keep ending up in the same fucking position.
You know what they are?
What?
They're one Jalen Brunson better, which isn't that much.
Yeah.
It is just not enough to get you from where you were last season. Like,
yeah.
Where did they finish last season? Were they 12th?
I think so.
They were just not. They had like 5 games left to play, and they were definitely not making the play.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen Brunson, he does not get you that much better. No one on this team has improved either. Like, the RJ Barrett revolution is still yet to happen. Everyone was like, "Whoa, Cam Reddish finally found his game." Just go look up his numbers. He's averaging like 8 points or something. So you will remain here as well in New York. You will absolutely remain in limbo until, I don't know. I actually don't know what, until you burn the entire thing down.
I feel like Dallas, the magnitude that Dallas got worse from losing Brunson has not been how much better the Knicks got gaining Brunson. I actually feel like he kind of hasn't made or maybe not he hasn't made a difference, but they haven't changed. They've kind of remained unchanged.
Well, I think the thing is, right, when the Mavs lose Brunson, they're losing Brunson, who's getting fed by Luka Doncic and operating like beautifully in like the space that Luka created. Like, he, that the 10 to 15 feet from the rim was Jalen's, and then Luka could have the rest of the court. So that means that him being that good is just not going to translate over to this Knicks team, because there is absolutely nothing being created for him here.
Yeah.
Like, you have 3 guys. You have 3 guys whose best spot offensively is in the same part of the court.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
I want to get this up. Maybe we should cut this. But I want to just get up the recent draft picks for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are, you know what I'm saying, our next team.
Yeah.
So since they came out of that Paul George Westbrook era, they've had 2 lottery picks. Well, 3, including Chet. But Josh Giddey last season. Before that, they didn't have a single lottery pick. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren this season.
Yeah.
And Jalen Williams was a 12th pick. Giddey got his reps in last season, 54 games of them. And then they were just like, okay, cool, let's just trying to win. Like, as soon as they got one of their guys, quote unquote, or one of the players that they saw in their future in Giddey next to Shea, they were just like, all right, let's see what we can work with. They're so young.
Yeah.
Their roster is so ridiculously young. But, like, they rebuilt until they just, like... I feel like people thought that it was going to take so much longer, but it didn't. And, like, they've shown that, like, they're going to integrate... Like, when they integrate Chet into this next season... That and I guess Ousmane Dieng, but they got him via trade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they're like, okay, cool. This is our core for the foreseeable future. We might make a trade for a superstar. We're going to integrate Chet into this next season. But like, yeah, they just decided, cool, we're going to start winning games. We might not be going for a playoff spot yet, but like the MO of the team is going to be winning.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think this is rebuilding. I still think there's like, I just think with all these assets accumulated, like there is still one more season of not being very good. I think they're going for one more like home lottery pick, if you know what I mean. So because, like we're saying, like they are good now. They've got good talent. Chet will be coming in next season. If you compare another really good 18-year-old, and because you just know they will draft someone good, even if they don't have a 1 or a 2 pick, they will draft someone good with the 4th pick or the 6th pick. Then I think they're like, okay, well that core's actually really scary, especially if SGA can just be like, all right, I can come out the gate with absolutely no barriers, and start averaging like 37 and 7 or whatever. Then I think I still think they're one season away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 24 games through the season though, if you have 11 wins, someone steps in and starts the rebuild. Shea has another one of those injuries that never really got documented. Yeah. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
But like they wouldn't have let it get to this point. As a team that was very clearly rebuilding, I don't think they would have let them get to 11 and 13.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Next in the alphabet,
The Orlando Magic.
The Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
I got him in rebuilding.
Yeah, I got him in rebuilding. I think this is pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, this is pretty cut and dry.
I like watching this team though.
Yeah, same.
Like, they just genuinely have fun players to watch now. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, when they throw out like a guard and then 4 guys over 6'10", it's like it's not like the Raptors. It's like something else.
Yeah,
it's like Orlando. It's like their own brand of basketball. So you can like see that developing, but they're still really bad. And I love Sean Carroll, the Deep 2 NBA podcast theory that Bol is playing the role he has to prepare them for getting Victor Wembanyama. I think that's really funny.
My thing there are young players on the team that I'm like, cool. Then they're in rebuilding, and Paolo definitely one of those players.
Yeah.
Bol is probably one of those players.
Yeah.
Franz probably one of those players. I don't think Jalen Suggs is one of those players.
No. He's having a much better season than his rookie season, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that they might benefit from getting a couple of adults in the rotation.
Yeah.
Just some more dependable pieces, because everyone is still quite exposable on this team, which is being reflected in their 5-20 record.
Yeah. What do you mean? Gary Harris isn't steadying the ship?
That's exactly what I mean. That's all I have for Orlando.
Yeah.
The Philly Sixers?
I have these guys as pretenders.
I got them as pretenders.
Yeah.
Is this another cut and dry situation?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I really want to like this team. Like, DeAnthony Melton has. I think he's been. You know what? He's the only Philadelphia player I want to talk about.
Let's go. Let's do it.
He's looked better than he did in Memphis. Like, because he's obviously been forced into a slightly bigger role with all the injuries and everything. And I think he's going to be a really special player on a championship one day. Maybe not for this Philly team. But yeah, I think like Embiid, like whatever, I'm kind of over him now. Harden, like he had a good stretch of play and then he got injured. Is he going to get back there? I don't think Maxey is being used correctly on this team either. Like I think he thrives when, you know, their best players aren't on the floor. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're right. I think they're as good as they're going to get with the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, Jimbo Slice has played 9 games this season. Joel's played 15.
Maxey's only played 15 as well, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know what the direction is. Maybe we're being harsh that they're injured, but maybe they should stop being injured.
Yeah. And also,
like they're just always injured now.
Yeah, and now if you're adding Maxey in, like, as, you know, someone who can only string together 55, 60 games, then like, yeah, what's the deal with this team?
Yeah.
I think they should have fired Doc at the end of last season. I just think this team needed a shake up because, like, despite bringing in new players and new players sort of emerging, like Maxey, like, they feel stale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Phoenix.
I have them as contenders.
I got them as pretenders.
Interesting.
I just don't think they're in the same tier as the Bucks or the Celtics or my Warriors. I just can't imagine them winning. I think that they haven't really changed from the team that made the finals, and that team didn't win the finals.
I think they've got a bit more. I think the difference between this team and like the team that, you know, had an awesome regular season last year and then bombed out in the playoffs. I think they've just got a bit more punch or something about it. Like, they had this awful Ayton drama over the summer. Chris Paul's been missing most of the year. Cam Johnson's injured. Jay Crowder is unavailable, and they're just absolutely gliding. Like,
that's true.
They're absolutely playing together in a way that I think last season it was like, oh yeah, okay, we're the number 1 season, and this is like they're just going to work every day and getting it done. Devin Booker's looked awesome. Mikal Bridges, I know you fucking hate the guy. But he's been hooping. He's been hitting shots. He's been doing everything on both ends. And I don't know. I just think that I think what let them down in the playoffs last season was a mindset thing and a bit of like, we deserve this, you know. Yeah. I don't think it was a talent thing. So I think if they can sort of go into the playoffs with a different mindset, just stop lifting weights after every win, you know, like, then I think they're a contender. I think it's unfair to say this team isn't in that sense.
Yeah, I think Mikal Bridges has had a really good season, super efficient as well, and then also just dependable.
Yeah.
Devin Booker, same deal. He's been very consistent. Ayton's been pretty good. But yeah, I just don't see him as a championship winning team.
Yeah.
I feel like they shit themselves in the playoffs last season for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that anything's changed.
Okay.
Portland?
Fuck, I got them as pretenders, but I think I might love to have them in limbo.
Oh, I have them in limbo, and I'm happy to have them here. Yeah, I don't think they fit into any other column, and like I don't see the vision. I don't see the vision here.
I just think, okay, we thought they'd be terrible at the beginning of this season,
and we were nearly right.
And they were like, and they're kind of fine. Like they're not. They're just completely fine. Like Jeremy Grant is having a really good season, but like that's not helping them that much. When Dame sits, they're not good. But I don't think they're any worse than, like, I don't know what. Like, are they any worse than the Portland team that made the conference finals 4 years ago? You know, like I don't think anyone thought that team would win a chip, right? But if that's the sort of noise you can make in the playoffs, then like, yeah, you're a pretender, you know?
Yeah. I don't think they're as good as that team. Also, they're 3-7 in their last 10. After starting really well.
Yeah. Or without Dame, I would say.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you know, they're 3-7 in their last 10. I just think they're in limbo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're I think they're in limbo every off season. And then they sort of play well enough in the season to be a pretender, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, maybe they should just be in limbo.
Sacramento.
I got these guys as emerging.
I got him in emerging.
Yeah. Light the beam.
Yeah, light the fucking beam. I think I came into the season being like, I'm not gonna fucking watch a Sacramento game. Fuck off. But I've watched a few and they're so much fun to watch. De'Aaron Fox is looking great. I'm so happy to see him playing well. Domantas Sabonis is such a handful. I feel like he's... it doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but there's something like a bit less is more about his game this season. I think that his role has maybe been simplified, but his production hasn't really changed. But maybe he's just acting more as a role player than like number 2 on this team.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod, but Mike Brown, early winner of the season. First of all, the Warriors look horrible, especially defensively. Secondly, Sacramento is firing.
Yeah. They're just so much fun. I think De'Aaron Fox is looking really like the player he should be. You know, like this is the De'Aaron Fox that we've been promised. But then they've just got the funnest cast of role players who are all... And they're all kind of playing above how you expected them to play as well. Like, Kevin Huerter looks... like he might be one of the best shooters in the league. like the way that he's playing this season. And he already was like a really solid guy off the bench. I mean, he started a lot for Atlanta, you know? Like he was really... he really looked like the second best offensive player in Atlanta at times, and he somehow looks better in Sacramento. Yeah. Since when is it? When's the last time a player went to Sacramento and looked better? You know, and I feel like there's a whole slew of them. Like,
this season.
Like Sabonis, if he's not looking better, he's looking like his role is more defined and it's working. It's working for him better. Malik Monk has just been like exactly the sort of player that you should put around De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Keegan Murray, I mean, maybe it wasn't all it was promised, but he's a good basketball player. Yeah.
I thought the Tim Duncan thing was a bit much.
I think that might be the understatement of the century.
In their 13-9 start to the season, they have had 7 games within 5 points, and they're 2-5 in those games. If you want to be one of those people like, oh, they can't win close games and fucking whatever. But I feel like those were more games that could have gone either way. Cough, cough, especially that one against the Warriors. Yeah. Cough, cough.
There's also another.
There's also another one.
Jesus. Flashes of 2002.
There's also another one. Was it Miami? Was it the Miami game that there was a contender?
Oh, yeah. It was 2 games in a row. Oh, my God.
So that could easily
Kevin Huerter, the most hated man in the league.
That could easily be 4-3 in those close games. So I think that we were talking about the Cavs on the other side. It's like, this is what their record is. I think that the Kings' record is worse than they are.
Yeah.
At 13-9.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. But I feel like if they can stay in this like 4, 5, 6 range, it's like, will the Kings break away? Will they fall into the pack? It's like, no, I think that is kind of way beyond the expectation that was set for them this season. And if they can just like medal in that, I think that that's a massive success for them this season.
Exactly. I think you should just be so happy that a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 20 years, like, is probably going to make the playoffs this season. Yeah. Like, I think that should be enough to just, tick this season off as a win. You don't have to be like, oh, okay, but like, can Domantas Sabonis win you a championship? Like, what's the plan here long term? Like, I don't think that matters for a franchise like Sacramento.
Yeah. Don't skip steps.
Like, just win some games.
Yeah.
That was the longest they'd been above 500 in like 15 years or something like that. It's just, you just got to feel happy for them.
And it definitely feels like that. Yeah. San Antonio.
I got these guys as rebuilding.
I got them in rebuilding.
Yeah. They're doing a bang up job of it as well.
Yeah.
This is the worst San Antonio have looked like in ages.
In forever. As for like the young guys that I'm like, oh, cool, for a rebuilding team, I'm going to include Pop, not that he's a young guy, but like got full faith in him.
Yeah.
However, Jeremy Sohan looks so good.
Hooper.
Fucking dude.
So good.
Love watching him play. I hate the way I'm going to...
TMG Jeremy.
Also, we can check. It's still... I hate the way that this is going to sound, but I love watching him compete.
Yeah.
Another couple of young guys, Devin Vassell, Trey Jones, like them. Keldon Johnson, I think we can include him. He's so young. And wasn't there another fella that slipped my thing?
Keldon Johnson feels like a player that they have to shed to rebuild, but he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
So no, you don't.
Yeah. But no, I'm just loving this team, watching them play in the early season, and I like the way that they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
Jake Puddle. I don't know. No, he's 27.
He's 27. But
Washed.
I think it's neither here nor there, the Jake Puddle thing.
Yeah.
If Victor Wembanyama comes along, then you're out of a job, sorry. Or maybe you're a backup. Or maybe you're a backup center, and hey, that's fine. But I think that sort of player, he can probably fit on a team that's, he can fit on a 55-win team, and he can fit on an 11-win team.
Yeah. What's been their slide? They've lost. I think they're 1-17 in their last 18 games.
Yeah. They had a good start to the season. Jeremy Sohan, like you said, they just give him the toughest matchups every night. Like when he played us, I think when we last played them, I think he's defended Zion and Brandon Ingram for an entire game. And he hasn't done a bad job on them at all. So I think that experience, and also coming into the season and being all right, cool, we've nabbed a lottery pick who can be a role player on our contending team in the future. That's a huge win. And also I picked him in our preseason draft preview. So
you can find that on the deep2.com. I think that there probably were no question marks around how Pop would coach a rebuilding team, but he's obviously doing a great job of it. And these Sohan reps are kind of irreplaceable. Yeah. It's okay, you're going to get this tough assignment, and he's just bringing it to him.
Yeah.
He's just bringing it to the assignment every single night. And is he 19? Yeah, he's 19. So fuck.
Legend.
Yeah.
Toronto Raptors?
Toronto Raptors. I've got him in emerging. Where do you?
You got him in emerging.
Yeah,
fuck, man.
What do you have, Maz?
What the hell? I was about to firmly put my stake in the Lukas Petridis. I'm sick of the Toronto Raptors camp.
Where do you have him, limbo?
I have him in limbo.
See, here's what I'm thinking. I don't have them meddling in mediocrity. I've got them chilling in mediocrity. Because they're still young. I want them to be in limbo, but I've got so much faith that they'll get a superstar. In the next couple of years, I've got so much faith that maybe not a superstar, but a star.
Right. Okay, because I've always had that faith, and then as I've been watching them this season, I've been sliding into I'm sick of this team.
Yeah, I am sick of it. But other than these limbo teams, it's just so dire for me.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Raptors, I'm sick of them. But they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're good.
My only rebuttal to that would be, I think this team needs to learn how to play basketball a bit differently. Because they are so committed to this fucking Fred VanVleet and the four switchy big armed wings that we fucking talk to death about them actually. That I think it's to their detriment. I think that's almost what's slipping them into limbo for me, is how what sort of basketball is this team going to play when they get a superstar?
Yeah.
And who's the superstar going to be? I'm pretty sure they could have gotten Kevin Durant this offseason. I think that was a very, very tangible possibility for them. Do they go and get a superstar wing? That would be nice. What if that's not the superstar that's on the market, So I think I don't know, but I don't know what their next. I think you say they're chilling, but it's when do they make that move?
Yeah.
Is it next off season? Is it the off season after?
Yeah.
What can happen to the team in that time? Could shit go south? Could OG Anunoby want out? Could he want to go play on a team where he can have a bigger role that's not going to get reduced once a superstar comes along? So yeah, I'm finally skeptical about the Raptors. It's only been the last week or so that this has sort of developed.
Yeah, they're mad young though.
Yeah.
They're so young.
That's
More than half their roster is below the age of 25.
Yeah.
And a lot of those players are in their rotation. OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., Precious Achua. I don't know if Delano Banton's playing. Christian Koloko, and Scotty Barnes.
Do you like Christian Koloko?
Is Ryan Harper Jr.? How's he going? 2 games, 3 points per game. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. He's made a 3 in each game.
That's my guy.
Love to see it. We finally have arrived to the Washington Wizards.
Wow.
We did that. We started proceedings with the second last team alphabetically in the Utah Jazz, and we will finish proceedings with the last team alphabetically. I got my guys in limbo.
I have them in limbo as well, and I'm sorry about it because I usually I just like to give you a little tuck under the balls in
Thanks,
these
man.
sorts of episodes.
Thanks for the ball tuck.
Yeah.
Same deal with the Knicks. We're just back here. Like, no matter what we do, who we bring in, whatever fucking podcast comes out before the season, we're still like just out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, make a decision.
I like this Wizards team more than I like that Knicks team. Like, I think there's fun stuff here, but yeah, like the ceiling is just absolutely here, and it's not even close to a playoff team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So. And I think the thing is, right, like this is a new iteration of the Wizards, right? Like these guys, they've played 40 games together or something like that, but you've like hamstrung yourselves away from another move by the last 2 moves you made, which were throwing the bank at Kristaps Porzingis and then throwing the bag at Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
So like it was sort of like while you were just exploring this new possibility, you then just absolutely nailed yourself to the post.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe we're below 500.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when we were speaking about them, 2 weeks ago, I like had a little bit more hope than I have now.
Yeah, same.
And now I'm like, okay, yeah, this is who they are.
All right, should we run through the teams?
All right. So
the Hawks of Atlanta.
I have them. Oh wow, I'm gonna have to do some jumping around here.
Yeah, same.
I have them in pretending.
Same. Boston.
Contending.
Brooklyn.
Pretending.
Limbo. Charlotte.
Rebuilding.
Limbo. Chicago.
Limbo.
Cleveland.
Contending.
Emerging. Dallas.
Pretending.
Denver.
Contending.
Detroit.
Rebuilding.
Golden State.
Contending.
Houston.
Rebuilding.
Limbo. Indiana.
Emerging.
Clippers.
Pretending.
Lakers.
Limbo.
Memphis.
Contending.
Pretending. Miami.
I moved them into limbo.
Milwaukee.
Contending.
Minnesota.
Pretending.
Limbo. New Orleans.
Emerging.
New York.
Limbo.
Oklahoma.
Rebuilding.
Emerging. All fucking hell again. Orlando.
Rebuilding.
Rebuilding. Philadelphia.
Pretending.
Phoenix.
Pretending.
Portland.
Limbo.
Sacramento.
Emerging.
San Antonio.
Rebuilding.
Toronto.
Limbo.
Emerging. Utah.
I had them in their own category, but I'm going to put them in emerging.
Emerging. Washington.
Limbo.
I knew everything. I knew all the ones. As I was just reading the list, I actually found checking the list confusing.
Yeah, I think that was what was confusing me.
All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll see you guys in another 52 episodes for when we do our next tiers.
Yeah, fucking sick episode. We're sitting at 145 right now.
Fucking hell, it feels like it.
Yeah. So, let's go get some dinner.
See ya.